burn them like the cali weed. Bury them down in a 6 feet deep. Burn them along with the streets them sick. I know, the whole of them are fake. A Tom message upon them everywhere them see. Kill Babylon, we feel leave them sick. The preacher a practice what them preach. The school a fi check with what them teach. Yo, burn them. Om Namah Shivaya, Asenest Fire, here on the way of Dharma. Let me fix something quickly so that we can get through with our internship. Om Namah Shivaya. I'm here on the way of Dharma. Our topic for today will be El Numero, also known as numerology. So this is what Lemon Lime Luki had asked for, since he was intrigued by the way I broke down the number 72 and reduced it back to the number 9. Okay, let me confess, as far as numerology, I'm not that well knowledgeable, and I'm also not good with el numero, with numbers. Okay, but I have come across so many things regarding numerology that were important in my spiritual path. So those are the things that I have memorized, just enough to get me through. So apparently, numerology, you can tell a person's life, their cycles, what they are currently undergoing or enduring in life at a certain time. You can reduce it to numbers. You can use numbers to tell of the person's situation, of the person's fortune, of the person's energy in life, what they will aspire to, what they will achieve, and what are their strengths and weaknesses. All this to the assistance of El Numero. So we are talking about numerology today. El Numero. For those of you who are in South Africa, get your way of Dharma t-shirts. You can leave the comments over there, and then I'll direct you to the Facebook page, and then you can decide to order if you want to, and all shipments will be done via PEX Korea. No, Pep Korea. Yes, Pep Korea. So yes, Om Namah Shivaya. It's actually uncomfortable of me to actually market something out to you guys. But yes, if you are interested, you can do so. And also, if you don't have any place whereby you can purchase malas, I can go to a place where I purchase my malas and add a commission on top, and then we'll courier those two. There's also an anklet of the third eye. It has the Sangoma colors, which is red and black. So there's a whole science to the black thread on your left foot. So if you want that too, I can cover that up for you, of course, at the price of a commission. So now let's continue. Currently, I'm at the number whereby I'm feeling businessical. Okay, no more jokes now. No more jokes. There's a book I wanted to show you guys, but I borrowed it to somebody regarding numerology. But you can also go into another book by an Ayurvedic master. It's what Johari. The author's name, the last name is Johari. So he talks about numerology and tantra. You can also go to that book. So basically, what is numerology? Telling a person's life just from the numbers that you can get from their name, their surname, their date of birth, and all that stuff. So the number that you would get from your first name would be the way you think of yourself. And then the number that you would get from your date of birth would be your birth number, also known as your destiny number in this book that I'm talking about, the Johari book. But that's exactly what it is, your birth number. So you will have that dominant force throughout your life. What you will achieve, what you will aspire to, your temperament, your character, your identity will be largely influenced by that number, that energy of the number. And there's also certain cycles of lives whereby you can look at a certain, you can how do you this yes, you can do certain calculations and reduce the number that you get to it, that you get from it in a single number digit, and then you can tell what cycle the person would be in. So I'll also talk about what some of the few numbers that I know that are important actually mean, and how they would influence a person's character and a person's identity. Okay, so let's continue. Uh, there's nine numbers from 1 up until 9. 0 isn't regarded as a number because it represents the nothingness and it births all these other numbers. 9 being the number of everything, 1 being the number of independence, and any number after 9 is a duplicate or a repetition of, it's like a cycle basically. When you get to 9, you get to start again, going back. It's like a cycle basically. So number 1 represents independence, and then number 2, what does it represent? It has something to do about, what does it have to do with? Okay, that one I forgot about it. Number 3 has to do with creativity and all that artistic character. Number 4, it has to do with what also? Okay, that one I didn't quite read into, but it's like an amplification of number 2, if I'm not wrong. Basically, guys, I can also be wrong. I'm not the spiritual guru who is not wrong. Yes, I am subject to being fallible, to making mistakes. So, yes, let's talk about the number 5. The number 5 represents so many things in occult study. Number 5 can represent and symbolize the 4 elements plus the spirit element or the akasha element. Okay. How important is the number 5 in a magician's life? You need 4 elements to bring something into creation. So with 5 elements, with that of spirit symbolizing the one who gives birth to all those other elements, the one who dictates, or the creator basically. So the number 5 is important in that aspect because it symbolizes the creation basically, and how the elements synchronize, for lack of a better term, to actually bring forth creation. Okay, what exactly do I mean? Out of all the elements, out of spirit, the spirit akasha element, comes all the other elements. Spirit symbolizes akasha, akasha symbolizes prana. So out of prana came all the other elements. Prana is a subtle form of everything, is the energy behind everything. So it gives birth to all 4 elements. So having 5 elements is actually symbolic of creation or the creator. Okay. So let's talk about the arm, leg, hand. In lectures by Baba C. Freemanel, he says that the name Allah, by the way, it's 5 letters. ALLAH. 5. Arm, leg, it's arm, leg, arm, and head, basically. So it symbolizes the human. Why does it symbolize the human? it symbolizes the human in the aspect of the human having the characteristics of a creator. The human has the same ability that the creator has. Even in okay, let's go even further to prove this. The human has a potential to become a magician. So in actuality, the number 5 is a number symbolic for magic and great change. Change means magic, basically. By working magic and doing magic, you are actually enacting change, basically. So the number 5 symbolizes the magician, symbolizes the human's ability to create, symbolizes the 4 elements plus the spirit element of creation. It basically symbolizes the act of creation and change, alchemy, you understand. So I'll come back to how I found out how this element actually how I found out it actually means change. It's because of these things that I mentioned of the 4 elements and the spirit element contributing or creating change or influencing change. So now let's go to the number 6. What does the number 6? And this one was actually gotten was actually discovered through this same act that I used, or this same technique that I'm going to share, that I used to actually find out what the number 5 means. So pay attention. Don't pay pension. So yes, the number 6, as you can see, the most common way to symbolize number 6 is by use of the hexagram. In occult symbology, to symbolize the number 6, you use the hexagram. Okay, there's also a geometrical figure of it that is in actuality a hexagon. Okay, and then there's also what? Yes, for a diagram, it's a hexagram, and then inside of the hexagram, when you can look closely, it's actually a hexagon. I don't know if a hexagon is in geometry or it's a geometrical figure or it's a diagram, but yes, it is that thing. Or no, I don't think it's a diagram because it is called a hexagon. I'm sorry, guys. Hexagram. So hexagram would be the diagram, and then hexagon would be the geometrical figure, you understand, of the number 6, representing the number 6. When you look and pay attention at the hexagram, it's 2 triangles, one facing up, one facing down. So the common acception and the common, not acception, man. What? The common interpretation of the upward facing triangle and the downward facing triangle would be what? The downward would symbolize the female energy or the feminine perspective or the feminine aspect in creation. And then the upward facing triangle would symbolize what? Would symbolize the male perspective or the male principle in nature. So these two, they actually come together and mesh up, you understand? So when they mesh up, they create the number 6. Okay, very perfecto, very beautiful. So them coming to mesh up and mixing to make the number 6, they come in perfect harmony. So clue number 1, when you look at the hexagram, what do you come to think of? the male and the female in perfect synchronicity, perfect sync. So what is perfect synchronicity? It's harmony. It means that they are living in harmony. Let me fix them things. Let me fix them things. They are living in harmony, basically. So now you get a clue of what the number 6 represents. And then you go back to the etymological root of the number 6. You put it's S-I-X. It's written that way in English. You remove the I, you put in the E. It becomes sex. So the number 6 symbolizes sex, symbolizes harmony, symbolizes relationships, symbolizes the male and the female principles harmonizing together, symbolizes perfection, basically. You understand? It symbolizes perfection. So that's a way of finding out how to decode some of the symbols and how to reconcile the numbers and the diagrams and the geometrical shapes, basically. And then we go to number 7. The number 7 symbolizes spirituality, a longing for spirituality, a sense of higher knowledge. Yes. Spiritual aspirations, the number 7. Yes. And then we go into the number 8. The number 8 symbolizes abundance. It symbolizes infinity or an infinite supply of abundance, or a spirit of no lack, basically, or a character of no lack. And then number 9 would symbolize the humanitarian, would symbolize one who is complete. You understand? One who is balanced, basically. So how did I come to the conclusion of these numbers without actually reading about it? Okay, when you go back in occultism, the number of or the symbol for magic, you see Baphomet, the downward pointing star. Downward pointing star, and it's 5-pointed. Now, why is the pentagram a 5-pointed star? Why? What does it symbolize? It symbolizes, as I've said, it symbolizes the number 5 on a basic mundane level. It's 5-pointed, so it has to have similar vibrations of frequency with the number 5. So why then is it used in occultism? Number 1, it offers protection. Number 1, it offers protection. Number 2, it symbolizes the 4 elements and the above element, which is the upward triangle, symbolizing the spirit element, which binds all these other elements. So basically, it's a symbol of magic, basically. So this is how you would then see what I mean when I say number 5 has similarities in frequency and describes the same thing as the pentagram. You understand? So what exactly is this technique? It's a technique that I learned in a book of Raja Yoga. You actually do this. You take whatever that you want to find out. Let's say it's a symbol of Devi Baglamukhi. But then we don't know it's Baglamukhi and all that stuff. We don't know, basically. We don't know it's Baglamuki. So what do? We look at these two triangles. Then we know, okay, this triangle, first we have to know what the triangle facing upwards mean. And then the downward facing, you should know what it means. So you already know that it's two principles meeting together, mating. And then you see this one. You now know that, okay, it's a downward facing triangle. So it's a yantra for Devi. So the common perception would be that, okay, let's take out this triangle and leave this only. We concentrate and look at it and ask ourselves questions. What does the upward facing triangle symbolize? What does the downward facing triangle symbolize? And then ideas will start to come to your mind, and then you write them down. It's a simple way to find out what symbols mean. You understand? Occult symbols mean. And it correlates with numerology because most of the diagrams have an actual number. Ask yourself questions, what they mean. What do those pointing triangles mean? What do they symbolize? And then ideas will come to your mind. As they come to your mind, you write them down. And then you go back to the number, the numerological aspect of it. And then try to correlate the diagram and the El Numero. You will get the answers that you seek, basically. So this is how you find out what most of the numbers mean without actually reading the books. And the meaning that you get from them will actually aid you in how you interpret your angelic numbers, how you interpret when the spirit guides are actually speaking to you. Throughout this Saturn retrograde, I've been seeing a lot of numbers and they've been communicating with me. Even recently, the channel was on 555. So I knew that I should expect a change. Unfortunately, the change wasn't pleasant as always. So anyway, we didn't come here to talk about that. So this is how you get to find out what numbers mean. You correlate them with symbols and diagrams, and then you'll be able to tell what the numbers actually mean. Om Namah Shivaya, Asinist Fire. I think I'd have to do a more in-depth video on numerology and all that stuff. But as for me, you might find me on my channel speaking about so many things that are not reconcilable to many of you. Some of you might ask yourselves, why is this guy talking about Mahadeva and then the next day he's summoning demons? I'm a number 5, so I'm a magician by nature. The number 5 symbolizes change, and that's the only constant in life. Om Perfecto Namaha. So you understand what I mean when I say I'm a number 5, and there's always going to be the changes. The key here in spirituality is to reconcile all the paradoxes, the seeming paradoxes that you may find in many spiritual systems. And this is what you should remember. Spirituality has a common goal, that of liberating soul. So it's only spiritual systems that are human constructs. So they are different interpretations influenced by different cultures all over our world. So the Hindu interpretation would be far different to that of the Hebrew interpretation, and so on and so forth. But there's a commonality that spirituality speaks about. There's a common truth that you can find when you can study or try to read about all spiritual systems. And don't be trapped in spiritual systems. Spiritual systems are human constructs. just human interpretations. If you are a Hindu, unfortunately, you are into religion. Hinduism is a religion. It is in actuality a religion. They worship Krishna. The true teachings of the Indians is in actuality Sanatana Dharma, which means eternal cosmic law. So that's not a religion. You study that, it tells you more about yourself. It tells you that all the deities, the devas, the devatas are in actuality inside of you. You go into the Kabbalistic teachings. Judaism, you worship Yahweh, and then Kabbalah, the oral tradition, it teaches you of the tree and how the tree in actuality symbolizes you as man, you as God. Whatever religion that you can come across, it has not come across, across. It has an exoteric side of it. Exoteric meaning the side of it which is practiced or being read by the public at large. And then you have the side of which is being practiced or being studied by the minor few, which is the esoteric side of it. So each and every religion and spiritual system has that. But the goal is to what? To study the esoteric teachings. When you do that, you realize that we are in actuality common, more common than we may actually think. Om Namah Shivaya, Asinist Fire, here on the Way of Dharma. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and make sure that you hit the notification bell so you get notified when new videos drop. Thank you.